Let me ask you something honest. How many times have you given everything to something, the work, the effort, the sleepless nights, and it still did not go the way you planned? And what happened after that? Did you keep going? Or did the result, the one thing you could never actually control, quietly convince you to stop? Most people live their entire lives this way. They tie their energy, their mood, their confidence, and their entire sense of self to outcomes they were never in charge of. And then they wonder why they feel anxious all the time. Why they cannot stay consistent. Why they start strong and fall apart the moment things do not go according to plan. Today, that changes. Stay with me until the end, because what you are about to hear is not motivation. It is not a quote to save and forget. It is a shift in the way you see effort, results, and your own worth. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Here is what it actually looks like when you are living without this. You work hard on something and it does not get the response you hoped for. So you slow down. You lose momentum. You start questioning whether it is even worth trying again. You apply for something, put in the effort, and get rejected. And instead of going again, you sit with the rejection like it is a verdict on your ability. You try to build a habit, miss one day, and suddenly the whole thing collapses because the result was not what you pictured. And the worst part is not the failure itself. The worst part is what it does to you internally. That quiet anxiety before you even begin. That constant checking. That desperate need to know how it is going to turn out before you are willing to fully show up. You are not afraid of the work. You are afraid of doing the work and still losing. So you either do not start, or you start halfway, or you stop the moment the result does not cooperate. This is one of the most exhausting ways to live. And almost everyone is living it. Because nobody ever taught you this one thing. You were never shown where your control actually ends. Epictetus was a man who had every reason to be defeated by things outside his control. He was born into slavery. He had no freedom, no status, no power over what happened to him each day. And yet he became one of the most studied minds in all of history. Not because of what happened to him. Because of how he thought. He said something that sounds almost too simple the first time you hear it. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. That is it. That is the whole thing. But do not let the simplicity fool you. This idea, when you actually live it, restructures everything. Epictetus drew a clear line between two categories. Things inside your control, your effort, your attention, your choices, your response. And things outside your control, the outcome, other people's opinions, timing, luck, circumstances. His entire philosophy was built on this one distinction. Put everything into what is yours. Let go of everything that is not. He was not saying results do not matter. He was saying that making results the measure of your day is a trap. Because results depend on 100 things you will never fully control. But your effort, your discipline, the quality of your focus today, that belongs entirely to you. Nobody can take that. And nobody can give it to you either. When you make your effort the target, instead of the outcome, something shifts. The anxiety quiets. The consistency builds. And over time, the results come, not because you chased them, but because you stopped letting the fear of losing them paralyze you. So here is how you actually apply this today. Not as a mindset. As a method. It is called the action target method. And it is built on one rule. Every day, you define success by what you did, not by what happened because of what you did. Here is how it works in 3 steps. Step 1. Every morning, set one clear action target. Not a result target. An action target. Not, I want to get 10 new clients. That is a result. Instead, I am going to send 20 outreach messages today. Not, I want to lose weight. Instead, I am going to train for 30 minutes today. The action is yours. The result is not. Write it down. 1 sentence. 1 target. That is what today is about. Step 2. While you work, kill the scoreboard. Stop checking how it is going. Stop measuring mid-effort. Stop looking at the numbers, the responses, the reactions. The scoreboard pulls your attention out of the work and into the outcome. And the moment you are focused on the outcome, you are no longer fully in the effort. Do the work with the door closed. Evaluate after, not during. Step 3. At the end of the day, ask yourself only one question. Did I show up to what I said I would show up to? Not did it work? Not was it enough? Not what did people think? Just, did I do the thing I committed to? If yes, your day was a success. Full stop. The outcome is tomorrow's information. The discipline is today's victory. Do this for 1 week. 1 action target per day. No scoreboard during the work. 1 honest question at the end. And watch what happens to your anxiety. Watch what happens to your consistency. Watch how differently you feel on Friday when you realize you showed up every single day, regardless of how things landed. That is not just a good week. That is the beginning of a completely different relationship with your own effort. I want you to sit with something for a moment. Every time you have let a bad result stop you, you were not responding to reality. You were responding to something you never controlled in the first place. You put in the effort. That part was real. That part was yours. And then something outside of you, a person, an algorithm, timing, circumstance, did not cooperate. And you let that thing that was never in your hands, become the reason you stopped. That is not failure. That is giving your power to something that was never yours to begin with. Epictetus lived in chains. He could not control where he slept, who owned him, or what tomorrow looked like. And still, not one person in that position could touch what was happening inside him. His thinking. His discipline. His choice of how to respond. That was his, completely and permanently, until his last breath. You are not in chains. You have every condition you need to show up today. And the only thing standing between you and consistency is this one habit of handing your momentum over to results you were never in charge of. The person who separates effort from outcome is not someone who does not care. They care deeply. They just refuse to let the uncontrollable become the judge. And because of that, they keep going when everyone else stops. They build when others are waiting for signs. They stay consistent while the world around them changes. That is the person Epictetus was describing. And that is exactly who you are capable of being. You came into this video carrying something heavy. Maybe you did not have a name for it. But it was there. That tension between trying and not knowing. That exhaustion of pouring effort into things and then waiting, anxiously, to see if it was enough. That quiet fear of working hard and still coming up short. You now know what that was. That was the weight of chasing what you could never control. And you now know how to put it down. Your effort is yours. Your attention is yours. The decision to show up today, fully, without guarantee, that is yours. And no result, no rejection, no slow day, no disappointing number can take that from you. Unless you let it. Epictetus did not wait for his circumstances to change before he decided to be someone. He drew the line. He chose his side. And he showed up, every single day, to what was in his power. That is your assignment now. Not to control everything. Just to own everything that is actually yours. Your effort. Your focus. Your one action target for today. The person who started this video was waiting for results to tell them whether to keep going. The person finishing it knows that is no longer the measure. The measure is the effort. And the effort starts right now. That is day 3. And you are not the same person who pressed play. If this one landed for you, subscribe. Day 4 is coming and it builds directly on this. Drop your action target for today in the comments. 1 sentence. What are you showing up to? Write it down. Make it real. We move together.